Welcome back to my channel. So it's Inktober day 9, and the prompt for today is heavy. For those of you who are new to my channel, I've been taking coloring pages and altering them into different themes. Prior to starting YouTube, I had a Rhino coloring page that somebody had given me, and I wanted to turn it into a fantasy theme. So I made a castle on its back, like a castle city, and made some mountains around it to make it look like this giant rhino with a castle on its back. So that's what I decided to use for my inspiration for today's Inktober, and I'm going to freehand this into my sketchbook. I really struggled with the proportions on the rhino. I think eventually I got it to where it looked okay. At first I drew the head too big, then I drew the feet too small. Eventually I did, I think, get the proportions okay. So I drew my castle. It's basically just lines and triangles. And on the eye, at first I had it lower set in the skull, but it just didn't look right. So I went ahead and raised it up. I believe in nature, a rhino's eyeball is actually quite low in its skull, but it just didn't look right. So I decided to go with the more cartoony look because I thought it looked better. I made the mountains around the rhino and put some ships down in the water so you could really get an idea of the scale of the rhino, and then I put some shadows on the water. I did struggle with the shading, so after I started shading it and I realized it was looking worse the more shading that I added, I decided to cut my losses. I decided to cut my losses and go ahead and just stop where I was at with the shading. That's probably something I definitely need to work on, is shading with a pen. It's very difficult because you only have one color. So I guess this hatch style of shading is very difficult, and I'm not really sure what the rules are on the lines and which direction that they go, so I did my best, and I decided to cut my losses about halfway through the shading and kind of was just okay with where it was at, and I thought it was better to leave it as is before I made it terrible. I originally made this page before I started YouTube videos. This is where I got my inspiration for my fantasy wolf, so if you want to see that video, make sure you check it out. I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to go watch it. I'm not really big into the Zentangle style, but on the rhino, originally when I did it, I actually thought it looked really good, so at some point I may go through and add a Zentangle style into it, but without all the color. I don't know how good it's gonna look, but that may be a project for the future. I'm happy at the stage that I have it here, so I'm gonna leave it as is. So here's my finished product. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and don't forget to check out my fantasy wolf.